Have you ever had a project where you have to cut off a whole bunch of little small pieces, like maybe for a segmented bowl, or maybe you're making a bezel for a clock that requires, say, 60 pieces to match up for the 60 minutes? Now, you've probably had small pieces get caught on the teeth of the spinning blade and come flying back at you, or maybe get jammed up between the blade and the insert plate. Well, I want to show you something that I made that seems to solve this problem. I'm a big believer in descriptive names, so I'm going to call this my small piece catcher. Okay, here it is. It's just basically a square box made of plywood. It has a plexiglass front so I can see what's going on inside. It's got a intake there where the small pieces get sucked up into the box. And there's a furnace filter, a cheap furnace filter, just to keep the small pieces from going right through into the dust collector. And here on the back you can see where I hooked the dust collector onto it, and it's just hooked onto a small 1 horsepower dust collector. That seems to be more than enough for this. I know you're thinking to yourself, does it actually work? Well, I took a piece of scrap spruce 2x4 and cut it down to about 1.5 inches square. And as you'll see, it works great. I did notice while I was making these cuts that I was getting a lot more than expected tear out on the wood from the blade. And then I remembered that a couple of days earlier I'd been trying to salvage some old used lumber and I caught a nail. You'll notice each piece getting sucked into the box and hitting the filter there. That filter also acts as a bit of a buffer so that the pieces aren't damaged when they come into the box, rather than being sucked in and hitting the back of the box. So okay, we can see that it works with larger pieces like this, but how would it work with very small pieces? I turned off the dust collector to the table saw because I didn't want to risk having those very small pieces getting sucked down between the blade and the table insert. What you're seeing here is my very first time using this system to cut anything very small, and I'm quite pleased. After the number of pieces are all cut, simply empty the box. I know that I didn't cut enough small pieces here to complete a circle, but that wasn't my intent. My intent was just to be able to try this system out on very small pieces. And every single piece I cut went into the box. Every piece. You know, I don't know why it is that everything I build like this for my workshop ends up looking big and clunky.
Yeah, and painted green too.
Smart aleck kid.